Imagine that your whole life, your mother was imprisoning you from the outside world, and one day a prince finally comes for your rescue. Will this fateful encounter last as all sorts of bizarre things take place? The manga starts with us seeing two ladies carefully watching a deer from some distance. In the next instant, the girl chants a magic spell and points her wand toward the deer. From the chant, a strong, condensed wave of magical power flows and strikes the deer right near the throat, instantly ending its life. As the two stare at the deer, whose body is unrecognizable and full of blood, Meririrarariri's mother praises her accuracy and perfect shot, reminding her that she could do much more if her heart was calmer in the situation. As she acknowledges the praise, she makes a troubled expression and quietly stands there, just agreeing. Her mother starts to add how a witch's heart needs to be aligned with her spell and begins to teach her about magic and how to properly compose herself. Meririrarariri is undergoing training by her mother, and this is their regular routine. Her mother instructs her to open the stomach of the deer, and with few words, Meririrarariri cuts open the belly of the deer. From the inside, an offspring of the deer comes out. There, Meririrarariri sees the awful sight and can't seem to believe that she ended both of their lives. It's a bit too much for her. From the side, her mother tells her in a cold voice that her hand must not stop. It seems like Meririrarariri is always pushed by her mother in everything. Without saying a word, she continues. Later, as they are about to cook the venison, they collect their ingredients, and her mother mentions that they must make this day memorable, and they would need to light the stove with something that Meririrarariri could remember later in her life. From the side, she brings out an old toy of Meririrarariri's, and Meririrarariri's eyes widen to see that her mother doesn't care about her daughter whatsoever. She places the toy near the coals and tells Meririrarariri to light it up and make this day a beautiful memory for herself. Meririrarariri's eyes widen to see that she would now have to burn something she cherished her whole life, and her mother's words need to be followed no matter what. With sad eyes, she looks at it one more time, then chants another spell, and the toy is engulfed in bright red flames. As she does this, her mother is pleased and praises her again. Meririrarariri remembers that this toy was given to her by her mother when she was kind and good to her. With a cold voice, she thanks her mother for the guidance, and it seems like Meririrarariri has just been holding on by a thin thread all this time. Regularly, she stops by the river and does laundry using her magic. Meririrarariri is never allowed to venture outside the woods and remains there for most of her life. As she washes and is ready to leave, from the side, a rustling sound comes, and she glances back to see a black figure quietly approaching her. There, a young man with a bright smile all over his face exclaims and shouts that he is glad to see a person after so long. As her eyes widen to see a human after so long, she remembers that her mother would hate that she interacted with him, and she turns around and leaves him there. The man grunts, as coming all this way, he got injured, and Meririrarariri notices this. The man starts to ask for some band-aids since the woods could easily make him sick. Although this entire progress is a bit too much for her, she looks at him and figures that pain is the thing that she herself hates the most, and a sudden flashback comes to her mind. She looks at him with dead eyes and throws a napkin toward him. Although their first interaction is terrible, they manage to meet each other, and the boy makes sure to shout thanks and starts to ask questions about her whereabouts. Meririrarariri doesn't answer, and he shouts that he would love to see her here again next week. This fateful encounter between these two youngsters would change both of their lives forever, and in the blink of an eye, several days already pass by. The regular training that her strict mother forces on her continues, and this time, she is told to kill a rabbit. Poor Meririrarariri sees the rabbit bleeding heavily, and she looks at him with dead and painful eyes. And her mother starts to add how she should never hesitate to kill anyone that crosses her path. It seems like her mother is creating an ultimate killing machine that would satisfy her thirst for power. With a cold voice, she lets her daughter know that she should never in her life open her heart to anyone and be swayed by useless emotions that only weaken. In an instant, she remembers the boy she met earlier, and with a trembling voice, she asks a very sad question. She asks, "Why did you even give birth to me?" She adds that if she was a child between a witch and a human, why did she even create her in the first place? She couldn't understand how her mother chose a weak human as her partner. As her mother looks at her daughter with a dead expression, toying and playing around with her father was enough to kill few years of her time. Her mother replies that a witch lives longer than humans, and a witch must always think about herself and no one else. Merrily asks again if she ever felt lonely after father's death, and with a sad voice, her mother reminds her that humans and witches are different, and she is a witch, and there is no place for emotion in their lives. A week has already passed, and as she goes to the same river bank to do laundry, from the back, the boy notices her again, and this time, he exclaims, thanking her that her handkerchief was pretty helpful. She glances back and is sure that he wanted to meet her here last time, and this time, the boy brings out a bag full of delicious cookies that he got from the village nearby. He returns her handkerchief and thanks her for the help. He is also able to get her name from the handkerchief. He introduces himself as Danka, and they both start a cute conversation among themselves. Merrily tries to leave again, and this time Danka begs her to stay for some time. He offers her some cookies and begs her to try them for once. She is skeptical at first, but eventually she gives in and takes a bite. Merrily somewhat likes the taste of them and is surprised that they are good. Danka exclaims that he had to wait in line for hours to get these, and shares how he shared them with the kids who loved them a lot. As she hears him talk, she reflects how simple humans really are, and how just small things make them happy enough to shout and boast. He tries to meet her again and tells her that he is here for some work, and adds that he would love to see her again soon. It seems like he is eager to meet her again, and this time it would become their usual meeting period. She stands there silent, and stares at his face as he tells her all this stuff. But later, we see that the cookies are so good that she ends up making them by herself. All that tough persona that she had earlier breaks easily at home, and she starts to bake. Even her mother notices and questions what she is making, as it is very unusual for Merrily to make something. As her mother joins in as well and offers to make tea to enjoy with the cookies, Merrily deep down has a fun time baking cookies. Soon, Danka starts to visit more often, and Merrily's regular training keeps getting more intense. Every day, Danka introduces her to the outside world, and she herself loves to hear his silly talks. It's somewhat clear that Danka has a crush on her, and it gets to the point that he starts to bring jewelry for her, and both their time is always spent with each other. One day, something very strange happens. As Merrily and her mother, Lara, are out in the forest for their regular target practice, Merrily is unable to hit the poor rabbit. Her mother exclaims and is sure that something is going on. She is sure that Merrily's heart rate has been going up recently, and she has lost her focus. As soon as Merrily starts to experience normal emotions, her mother immediately notices and points that out. Without saying a single word, she tilts her head, and with a sad voice, she apologizes for disappointing her. After a week, both Danka and Merrily meet again near the bank, and this time, Merrily cuts all ties with him and tells him not to come here again, as it would be dangerous. He panics and asks if everything is okay. Merrily starts to add how he should just get out of the town and needs to stop bringing her souvenirs. He starts to ask if he did anything wrong, and she looks down, knowing that she must end her emotions now, or things would turn dark for him. She musters the courage and begins to leave him, and with a stuttering voice she tells him not to meet her again. As she walks off, after ending ties with the first human she ever knew, from ahead, her mother comes to check up on her and waves at her. However, her mother's whole world changes when she sees her daughter interacting with a human. As she realizes that it's going to be over for her, Merrily stands there, completely speechless. Danka sees her mother for the first time as well and is completely frozen. With a surprised tone, he asks if she is her mother. From the way Danka asks Merrily this, it's clear that both of them knew each other for a while, and her mother quickly grabs her arm and pulls her over. As Merrily exclaims, her mother becomes a different person, and both of them leave, as Danka stands there knowing that Merrily would be in big trouble for sure. As both mother and daughter walk, her mother is furious to see her near a human. And finally, she learns that Merrily was missing her training and was losing her focus because she was too fixated on going outside and meeting with humans. She asks her if she has forgotten that a witch needs to sever her emotions. Merrily exclaims that she is calm, and her mother adds that if a witch loses her calmness, it's the same as losing the power to self-defend. Just hearing this, she knows that her mother is fixated on making her daughter a living weapon by all means, and everything that Merrily cares for means nothing to her. Her mother locks her in her room and shouts that she should reflect on her actions. As her mother slams the doors, poor Merrily looks at the bed and kneels down to see all the gifts that Danka gave her, and she quietly kept them all hidden from her mother. She starts to break all the gifts one by one, and as her mother notices this and asks what she is doing, Merrily destroys all his gifts and tells her mother that she is calm and this all means nothing to her. She tells her that she will become a fully fledged witch and will make her mother proud, and these gifts are just a hindrance to her. As she says this with a sad voice, her mother leaves her again, and this time she slams the door hard and warns Merrily to forget about the human no matter what. As she lays down on her bed, the eerie sound of rain brings back painful memories, and she remembers how being her child was difficult since from day one Merrily was not allowed to have emotions like normal humans. As she cried for her toy that she loved a lot, her mother reminded her that she should let go of all emotions and should stay calm. These words are something that she would repeat over and over again. She even makes sure that Merrily would call her Lara instead of mother, since the word mother could bring emotions into her. Every waking day of her life, she is taught how to stay calm, and magic is all that she learns. For her mother, emotions are something that terrifies her. She cries how meeting with Danka has made her have fun for the first time in all her life, and this all is precious for her that she is unable to tell this to Lara. Suddenly, a noise interrupts her sleep. She quickly gets up to check and goes down the stairs while holding her wand. As she makes sure to watch her step and be careful of the unknown. And there her poor eyes widen to see that Danka is standing there, holding a shotgun, and it is clear that he shot Lara right in the stomach, and she lies there bleeding. As he looks up, he exclaims and calls out to Merrily, telling her that he is happy to see her. In pure fear, she asks what he is doing, and he brings out a paper and starts to remind her that he mentioned about being here for some work. Well, that work is related to killing a witch hiding in the woods. According to the bounty, the witch is 120 years old, her name is Lara, and she has silver and iridescent eyes. With a creepy smile, he tells her that Merrily's mother's head is worth more than 25 million. He starts to mock how he used her to verify everything. At first, he was sure that Merrily was the witch, but slowly the evidence he had didn't quite match with the descriptions. He laughs and tells her that Merrily led him straight to the grand prize in no time, and with a disgusting smile, he smiles and tells her that he is a witch hunter. Hearing this, Merrily's entire world comes crumbling down, and what she had thought to be the case is quite the opposite. The mother whom she somewhat hated was right all along and was the only person wanting the best for Merrily. As she is speechless and couldn't believe that the first person she met played with her entire existence, and even attacked her home, she brings out her wand and is ready to attack. Danka starts to play around and reminds her that they are friends, and she shouldn't aim the wand at him. She chants a spell. Nothing works, since she is already emotional and is not able to focus. Danka starts to spew how he should take her head with him as well and loads his gun one more time to shoot. As he points, Merrily quickly dashes to run, but he starts to shoot, and the loud banging noises make her deaf. She runs with everything that she has and cries that Lara was right all this time, and she remembers how she mentioned that a witch needs to be calm, and that is her way of self-defense. However, fate is cruel to her, and one of the bullets tears open her stomach from the side. As she drops, multiple gunshot wounds are on her back, and she starts to huff for air, As she crawls to get away, Danka quickly catches on. And there Merrily is drawing her last breath, and the sound of her heart is the only sound that she can focus on. She closes her eyes and cries how miserable everything is. She remembers her mother's teaching one last time, and how during her shot she was calm, and the only things that were around Merrily were the target and her. As she compares the feeling of a prey and a predator, Merrily opens her eyes one more time and feels Danka place the barrel right next to her head. As she looks up and compares the deer to Danka, she musters her tiny voice and chants a spell, and in the next instant, Danka's entire body is splashed into thin air so aggressively that only his head is visible, and his entire rest of the body turns into tiny parts. As Merrily struggles to open her eyes, blood pours all over her face, and she chants a healing spell on herself. Immediately, she gasps for air and looks up to see the thing that she has just done, and slowly gets up to check herself. She gets up and roams around to see her mother's body and screams out her name. Lara is still breathing, and she starts to chant a healing spell but notices that she is too emotional, and she can't calm down. She rushes to bring out a bandage and medicine to stop the bleeding and tightens her up. As time passes, Lara wakes up and gets up to check everything. As Merrily herself gets up, she shouts her name and smiles, seeing her mother once again, and cries that she can't stay calm during times like these. Lara sees her smiling face and is so happy to see her like this that she remembers that it has been years since she last smiled. Merrily gets up and brings out a tray. There, dozens and dozens of letters are safely kept hidden by Lara all this time, and Merrily tells her that she read some of them, and they were letters from her father. As she breaks her lie and tells her that she lied about their relationship, and Lara was not killing time with her father. Her mother starts to tell her how witches are hated by humans, and nobody likes the idea of a witch existing. She shares that her father was a kind and gentle man who loved her despite knowing that she was a witch. However, people around him targeted him and killed him. As Lara couldn't save the love of her life, she eventually returns home to see her husband dead and killed by the people. However, Lara was not able to attack any of them since she herself lost her calmness and had to run away, because she was pregnant with Merrily at that time. As Lara was forced to run at that time, she cries that by the time she returned, every single thing that she'd built with that man was gone. And she kept all his letters and decided to live deep inside the forest, away from humans. As Merrily's eyes widen to hear this, Lara clenches the bedsheet and cries out that she couldn't protect anyone, and all this time she was scared that something could happen to Merrily, and that was why she pushed her always and how living for her must have been tough. As she weeps, Merrily sees this and quietly sits down, telling her that everything her mother did was to protect her daughter, and tells her that seeing her cry for the first time makes her happy. As Lara weeps, she reminds her that she is still her mother. As time brings both mother and daughter closer, both are trying to ignite the chimney, and this time, Merrily is showing genuine emotions and refuses her mother's proposal, who is trying to convince Merrily to burn the stuffed toy. As they both laugh and find each other, their life takes a positive turn, and the happiness that she desired and searched outside was actually just near her all this time.